Hello, Mark. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Everything is good.
Nice.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Los Angeles. It's a beautiful day today. I'm very happy that I'm here, enjoying sunshine before the summer, before June gloom starts, as they call it. But yeah, I'm super pumped. It's beautiful.
That's nice.
You? Where are you?
I'm in Portugal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Whereabouts?
in Lisbon.
Nice. Yeah, I have 2 days off after the Lisbon show, and I'm gonna go up to Ericeira and go
Yeah.
surfing.
Surfing. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And you have nice restaurants there as well. So,
Really? Yeah, yeah, cool. I've
yeah.
never been up that far. Actually, I've been up to Porto, but we never stopped in Ericeira, so
Yeah. You're going to
I'll have to
enjoy
check
it.
it out.
It's a very nice place.
Awesome.
Good for surfers and good for those who like to eat as well.
Ah, perfect.
And let's talk about the upcoming European tour. You're going to play Portugal, as we said, July 21st. For those who never watched Dirty Honey, what can they expect from a Dirty Honey live show?
A lot of loud guitars, a lot of loud singing, a lot of energy, everything that what I've been told Portugal loves. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I've actually been very familiar with a concert video that was performed in Lisbon. God, maybe like 20 years ago, and it just looks like one of those places everybody wants to play. So yeah, to do our first gig in Portugal there is going to be really special.
Yeah, and you guys have the live record out. Does that encompasses what Dirty Honey is all about when it comes to a live show? When they listen to that album, that's what they're going to get from Dirty Honey.
Yeah, certainly from an audio standpoint, that was really what we were trying to showcase is what we're all about, and I think we really made a nice statement about ourselves with the live LP, and it's a great representation of our show, who we are as musicians, who we are as performers, and I think there's a level of quality that we strive for every night, and that's definitely evident on that record. And yeah, it's funny, I listened to it the other day on a bicycle ride here on the beach, and I was like, this is badass. Like I'm really proud of this, so yeah, exactly. That's definitely what you could expect.
Yeah. One of the things about rock bands, normally it's when they release a live album that when fans realize how good the band is. Kiss Alive, for instance, that's what propelled Kiss. Do you think that's, rock and roll, it's to be played live and loud? It's better than listening to a record. Playing live and listen to a live recording, do you think it's better than a studio version?
A lot of times, yeah, especially I just saw Jack White the other night live, in LA, and that experience blows away anything on the records that he's put out. So, it's a good and bad problem, because people tell us all the time, your records are amazing, but you're even better live. So then it makes you kind of question, like, well, what's wrong? What are we doing wrong in the studio that we're not doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, we call it a backhanded compliment, it's like, well, that's a great compliment on one end, but it's posing a problem on the other. So yeah, it's tough. And I think bands that really get it right, like, are the ones that capture that live energy in the studio. And that's when you get the really explosive albums like Back in Black or Appetite for Destruction or Nirvana. Like Pearl Jam comes to mind. It's just, raw and full of emotion and soul and energy. And yeah, and then you kick it up another notch live. It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah. And, when you guys are in the studio to record, do you guys, you were mentioning, how sometimes band can capture that in the studio. Would you guys like to play the songs, live as a band when you're recording?
Yeah.
That's how you guys like to work in the studio?
Yeah, we track everything live together. And then I'm usually singing also with the band doing the rhythm stuff. And then, you know, you'll lay solos on top. And then maybe if I want to, I'll go back and I'll re-sing something or add some background vocals or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, like certainly the guitar, bass, and drums, that's done live together. And it's great to do it that way, but it's almost like after you wish you could go back and do it after you've gone and toured, you know, with those songs for 6 months or whatever, because that's when you really find all the nuance. But, you know, putting out the live record lets us explore that on a recording a little bit more. And obviously that's why we put it out, because, you know, we're proud of those subtle little changes that happen on tour, you know?
So you're one of those rock believers that the songs actually, they become perfect when they are played live. I mean, because when in the studio, the bands tend to try to perfect it, and comes to a point where they kind of giving up almost on the song because they can really make up their mind. Do you think when you play live, that's when the song comes alive?
It's definitely when it comes alive for us. And so I was just saying on a previous interview, like this tour, and then we're going on a tour with the Struts in North America after we tour Europe, and it's going to give us a real chance to play and perform a lot of new stuff, you know, for the next 6 months before we actually go into the studio to record it for what will be the next record. So, you know, that is when I really think you're without regret in the studio, because you've had some time to explore it in a live setting before you go in and record it. That's like my best case scenario. So
yeah. With the previous two records, do you had the chance to do that with the songs, or you didn't have that opportunity?
We didn't. We did on the first EP. You know, we were able to play When I'm Gone and Down the Road quite a bit. You know, those were two songs that definitely got explored live. And then we were able to play on the follow-up record, The Wire, and a song called Take My Hand quite a bit on a tour. Nothing else on that record was really finished, you know, before the record was released. And then on the last record, we were able to kind of play Won't Take Me Alive a little bit on a tour before we went to the studio. So there's been a couple here and there, but yeah, we've never had this much time. We've never had this much of a wealth of material sort of ready to be performed, you know, and then obviously going on tour, we're gonna have a bunch of time to play some new stuff. So,
So how many songs do you think are finished or, you know, are done for the next records?
I would say there's probably 5 or 6 that are really probably ready to go. Like I think we'd all be comfortable performing them live right now, like 5 or 6. And then, you know, there's another 10 or 15 that need some more work, whether it's lyrics or arranging or melodies or whatever. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, we could go in and tinker with, but there's only a few that I think we'd really be comfortable with, like sharing with the world, you know, on a stage.
Yeah. So those songs you're just going to perform on the Struts tour in North America. On this European tour, you're not going to take a chance with any of the new songs?
I'm sure by the time we get to Lisbon, we'll be taking chances with some new stuff for sure. Once you get to the end of a tour, you know, you tend to want to change things up a little bit, whether that's the set list, throw some new stuff in. All right, let's see what this one sounds like tonight. Who cares? You know, let's give them something new to chew on. Yeah, we'll definitely be playing some new stuff by then. I'm sure of it, 100%.
And when it comes to, you know, talking about the set list, when it comes to do you guys like to change up things a bit, or you're one of those bands that, you know, I mean, you already said you like to change things a bit anyway, but do you like to change, or you feel more comfortable if there's like a 10, 15 song that's said and done and you play that from start to finish?
We kind of have like a list of all the songs, you know, that we have. You kind of know which ones are good openers, which ones are good encore songs, whatever. But yeah, we changed it up quite a bit. Like our manager used to lose his mind because the set list was never correct that people were getting after the show. You know, people be like, I got the set list. And it's like, it's not even right. You know, it's like the first song would say like, Can't Find the Brakes. And that night, maybe we started with Won't Take Me Alive. Like I'll just say stuff, you know, as we're going. You know, we never really stick to to what's on the sheet of paper, but they're all on there. We just sort of like to pick and choose as we feel like riding the wave, you know, so to speak, of the show.
So there's a good chance that someone has reviewed the show based on the set list and they got it wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I've seen journalists, and this is kind of sad that they've been to festivals and to concerts to review, and actually in a festival they reviewed the band that actually didn't play.
Oh, really? Jesus. Yeah.
And it was a UK magazine, well-known magazine. The band that canceled their performance were replaced by someone else, but they still reviewed
Somebody said in a magazine once that we famously opened for Guns N' Roses and Led Zeppelin somehow. So journalism is, you know, I don't know what's going on out there.
It's crazy, but you have opened obviously for for great bands. You mentioned Guns N' Roses, I think The Who, a lot of other bands. What was that show that you were really like, fuck, this is awesome?
So far, The Who is great. We've done a bunch with Kiss. Those were great. We've done a bunch with Guns N' Roses. Obviously, they're all great. I think the one that really sticks out to me so far was opening for Guns N' Roses in Milan at San Siro, and that was a really cool. Just like, you know, that's a very famous stadium. Obviously, if anybody follows soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, and like for me, Italy definitely holds a special place in my heart because I used to live there. And so to go from busking on the streets in Florence to playing San Siro and in Milan is, that's as big of a jump as you can make. So, that was a really special day for me. And I think also like there was a little bit of knowledge from the fans that like I lived in Italy for a bit and I could really feel their love that day, and it was really special for me. So hoping Portugal shows us the same.
It's going to be, I'm sure, we're known for being rowdy sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
So I'm sure we'll do our best to be as rowdy as possible, and you won't forget about it. But you were talking about Italy. I was there last year, and I absolutely loved Italy. I was in Florence. You lived in Florence, or you were a bit all over Italy when you were living there?
I lived in Florence. I lived in Florence. I was home based, but obviously like traveled a bunch while I was there and saw a bunch of other countries and cultures. And, but yeah, Florence was home for like 6 or 7 months.
It's nice. I fell in love with Florence. When you go to, obviously you have to see the freaking cathedral because that's the,
Yeah.
But when
it's amazing.
When you go down the street and all of a sudden when you're turning the corner and you see this huge cathedral,
it's so beautiful. I know.
It's absolutely amazing. We have those in Lisbon, band. They don't look as good from.
Yeah. That's a pretty special one. But no, Lisbon's a beautiful city too. I after one of our European summer tours, I went for about a week and stayed in Lisbon for a few days. I went south for a few days, and then we actually popped over to Sevilla for 2 days, and then came back in. And it's a beautiful, beautiful city. And rode the train car through the city and got off at all the hot spots. And we loved it. It's a beautiful town.
And, in 2023, you changed the drummers. Jaden now is in the band. Was it an amicable decision to, change drummers, or it was just, had to happen?
No, yeah, we were getting ready to go on a tour, and Corey just, he was never really in love with the touring lifestyle. And, we just got an email one day that was like, if you guys can find a replacement, that'd be great. If not, I'm willing to do the tour. I'd like to not do it, but, we kind of knew as we were getting more and more successful and tours were becoming more and more regular that he might jump off the train at any moment, and it came. I mean, it was totally amicable, obviously, but that was it was a surprise, of course, and obviously an adjustment, but it's worked out great. So I think everybody's happy I think Corey's happy not touring. I think Jaden's happy, being with us, and we're happy with Jaden too. So everything worked out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And, speaking of touring, I was watching the documentary that you guys did on YouTube, that it's in 4 parts. And I think you mentioned that on the tour that you were doing for that documentary, you're going to lose quite some money on that tour. Is it still, financially profitable to tour?
Not really, no, unfortunately. I think the finances of any band early, unless you're huge, it's really difficult to make money. And certainly Europe is really tough, but it's so weird because the countries, it varies country to country. Some countries overpay you almost, it seems like, some underpay you and everything in between. But, I don't think we're going to make money on this one. So that's why we need people to buy a t-shirt, make sure we can keep doing this, for years to come. But I think it's well known. Most bands have, trouble making money touring Europe, but you gotta continue to get out there and grow and make new fans. And until you reach that breaking point, you gotta just keep going back, and it gets bigger every time. So,
yeah. And, on this tour, you guys playing some festivals, and in Spain, you guys are going to open for Scorpions in Pamplona, if I'm not mistaken. Looking forward for that show. It's going to be like a special show because, it's 60th anniversary for the Scorpions. I mean, I'm old, but they're old.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they're making money. They've been around for quite some time. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. We're opening for them a couple times on this tour, and really looking forward to it. Obviously, we're going to be in some great cities. I've been to Pamplona before too, and we're opening for them in a couple places in France, I believe, as well. So I'm sure they're going to be full arenas of excited rock fans, and those are tough opportunities to get. There's not a lot of there's Guns N' Roses, there's Scorpions, and there's a couple other bands that can put butts in seats like that, and there's certainly a huge one in Europe. So yes, it's obviously an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, they are playing. I mean, the Scorpions, I think for the last 20 years, they probably have played at least once every year here in Portugal. It's crazy. That's
awesome.
They played so many times. It's been amazing. They're actually playing again just, I think, 3 days before you guys play in Lisbon. They're playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're playing in Porto in a festival. 3 days.
Awesome.
3 days before. And Guns are playing next month here in Portugal as well. So
nice.
We're getting the big tours now. I'm always excited for the summer because it's, big bands, big festivals. It's always like very exciting time to go to concerts. The summer is amazing. So when can you expect the new material? You mentioned obviously after the tour with the Struts, you guys will go to the studio. What are the plans for the release of the next records? If there's any...
We have to finish it first, obviously, and actually do it. But once it's done, it usually takes about 3 months for it to come out. So we're hoping to get into the studio maybe sometime in October or November, which would, hopefully put some new music out by Christmas or something, at least a new song to, give people a taste of what's to come. And if not sooner, that'd be awesome. I would have loved to have gotten it out by Christmas, but with the Struts tour happening, I don't think that's really possible. But we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and many people said rock and roll is dead. I think he's anything but that. What's your take on rock and roll at the moment?
I think, you know what, I do think, I think COVID did put a little bit of it put a little bit of a stall on bands, just because I think for bands to develop and get good, you have to get together, and people couldn't get together for almost 2 years and play and play at bars and, forget about just getting into a garage and making noise together, but like getting out and actually playing shows. Couldn't do that for almost 2 years. So I think if a new wave is going to be coming up behind us, it's going to be, 5 years from now. But we took a band out called Feel. They were a really good rock and roll band. I think Marcus King is a great rock and roll artist. Obviously Dirty Honey. There's Greta Van Fleet. There's a band called Bad Flower. There's some stuff happening. None of it is really broken huge yet, but Youngblood is doing his thing. But I think the spirit of sex, drugs, and rock and roll is a little different these days, just with social media and people's cell phones being able to capture everything. You got to be able to tread lightly a little more than maybe Slash used to have to. But, so I understand Gene Simmons when he says, when he explains what he's saying, I do understand it a little bit. But, the excess is non-existent, when you're not making, millions of dollars, touring Europe all the time. I think it makes it a little more tricky, but our spirit is alive and well for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the live performance that matters, not throwing a TV out of an hotel room that makes you rock and roll.
No, that is fun. I have done that. That is fun.
But now the TVs are so light, it doesn't make an impact if you throw something out of the window.
It definitely makes an impact. It makes a loud noise, but you don't want to hurt anybody, obviously, and that wouldn't be good. But yeah, I think country, certainly here in the United States, is kind of, it's more and more it's sliding into the rock and roll sphere. There's a huge festival called Stagecoach, and Creed just played, Nickelback just played, Sammy Hagar just played Stagecoach. Like, it's a famously like cowboy boots, Daisy Dukes, cowboy hats festival, and they have all these rock acts playing. The Black Crowes played it, I think, 2 years ago. So I think there's a blend happening there that's getting a little bit interesting, and they're the biggest stars in America now, the country acts, for sure.
Yeah. Well, as long as you guys keep coming to Europe, we don't mind. It's fine.
Yeah, me neither. I love Europe. I love going. It's so fun to be there in the summertime, and I love it, and the audiences are great, and it definitely feels like rock and roll's alive and well over there. So
yeah. Here I think we have an appreciation for that. Like Iron Maiden, they play next month. They sold out the show in less than a day.
Wow.
Like 18,000 people. So I think sometimes the problem is when you have too much shows happening at the same time. That can be, sometimes an issue. But, I go to Ireland a lot, for instance, and I see a lot of people going to concerts, and it's almost every day, but they go, and it's a release. We have to work, we need to make money, but the release that we have is to go to a rock show. So, the more the merrier, so to say.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mark, thank you very much for your time. All the best for Dirty Honey. I'll see you in Lisbon, 21st of July.
Can't wait.
I'm going to be rowdy. I don't know about the rest of us, but
I'll be rowdy. We'll find some tequila, and we'll make sure we'll be well rested for that show for sure. It's going to be a tough travel day, but we're going to be excited. It's always fun at the end of the tour. You kind of don't know what you're going to get. We wind up ending the tours in Europe, especially with these really great shows in these places where we kind of didn't expect them. I definitely expect a great show in Lisbon and a great audience, but a couple of years ago we were really tired. We had a long 7-week run of just we typically do 6 shows in 7 nights, and we wound up in Paris on the last night, and everybody's really tired, and this crowd just lifted us up, man, and it was awesome. So Lisbon's towards the end of the tour, but we expect big things out of Portugal. So.
Yeah, I'll give the warning to the fans going that we need to make some noise. I don't need to tell them; they'll do it anyway.
Yeah, they already know.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Mark, thank you very much for your time. I'll see you in Lisbon then on July 21st, and
Looking forward to it
for the tour. And see you in Lisbon. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.